Welcome. Welcome to today's guest, Shari Doherty of Remax Finest. But I'm going to tell you, ladies, that that's really just part of Shari's story. I absolutely, with all of my heart, enjoy just being in the presence of Shari. And I hope by the end of this that you will feel the exact same way. Shari, thank you for taking time out of your busy day and sitting with us.
Thank you for having me.
Now, I know we've had conversations before, and when things were a little bit different, we had the pleasure of doing those in person.
You
And
did.
you have an amazing story. So, one of my passions is bringing strong, kind, caring women to the forefront and letting other women know that anything is possible in this day and age. And I think you are a prime example to show our listeners and our community that anything is possible. Anything. Now, I want you to share a little bit about, we're going to start right off the hop with your Facebook group, Fab 40 Plus, because I think that's actually how we met. And tell the viewers what Fab 40 is all about.
So at the time when I created Fab 40, I was working in a corporate job, and I have some creativity in me that didn't have an outlet. So we can certainly get to other parts of my story in a little bit, but there have been times in my life when I've had side businesses and other things that really let me tap into my creativity. But I was at a time in my life when that was not happening for me, and I wasn't getting that outlet in my corporate life. And so I had an itch that I was curious about and kind of a passion I thought about always exploring. And I was thinking about pursuing a little bit of acting or potentially modeling, mature modeling, we'll call it. And I realized that there isn't a lot necessarily for mature women. So for mature women, I'm going to say over the age of 40, but I started out by looking into finding a modeling agency and looking up what was local and what was available and what kind of classes and programs were available for modeling. And to be completely honest, I didn't want to go to a modeling class with 14-year-olds. And obviously, you'd feel very uncomfortable and very out of place. And there's just not a huge market for showcasing beautiful women of our age. And I really started to think about that and realized, but that doesn't make sense to me because, to be completely honest, I now feel more beautiful, more confident, more secure. I have more spending power and discretionary income than I've ever had in my life. And also, with the aging population, this is a huge market that people should be focusing on. And God bless them, because there's lots of focus and lots of attention paid to the under 30s or even the under 25s. But what about us? Because we have a huge voice,
And I
right?
think we should pause on that and let that simmer for just a moment. So, for all of the ladies who are listening right now, who are tuning in, who are 40 plus, you are more beautiful now than ever.
Absolutely.
You have more to offer the world than ever before. Your spending power is through the roof, and the world has been discrediting us. And Shari is here to put a stop to that. To
Right.
stop to that. Embrace who you are right now in all of your juicy goodness. 40 plus is just the beginning. I love it. And creating a safe place for strong women to share their voice is so powerful and impactful. I really needed, Shari, really needed.
Thank you. Absolutely. Well, I mean, we spend, and I had spent the last 20, 25 years focused on building a career, making sure I could feed and house my children and my family, having a lovely marriage and whatnot. But I kind of feel like after that kind of wrapped up in 2018 when all my change happened, it was my time. And I feel like it is your time when you're 40 plus to do all the things you've ever dreamed of and have the freedom and maybe have a little bit of finances behind you. So kind of going back to that story, when I started looking around, I'm the kind of person that if I can't find something, then I'll just create it. So where I see a
Yeah.
need or where I see a market, I was like, well, I can't find this. Maybe I'll just start one. So I was down this path of thinking like maybe I'll open a mature modeling agency.
Ooh,
And I still think it's a great idea because here's my example. If you were going to buy a boat right now, a sailboat, for example, you probably have the money, you probably have the desire, you might have a cottage where you would use the boat. And if you were to go to the boat show, there is a really good likelihood that the people in the magazines or on display or whatnot are maybe 25-year-olds in bikinis trying to sell the boat
To our husbands,
to our husbands. And in
right?
reality, I'm potentially the one with the money to buy the boat. And my
Absolutely.
lady friends that look like you and I are probably sitting on the boat playing cards and drinking wine and cheese in our bathing suit cover ups because that's how we're comfortable. And that's the way people should sell boats.
I agree with you. And I love how you also touched on that now you're at a place where it's time for you. So you've done the corporate and the kids. So ladies, we are going to backpedal just a little bit because I know so many of you can relate to the story that Sheri is going to share with you. And some of you might be right in the thick of it and looking for the what's next, what's to come next. So Sheri did preface, she has given reference to that she was in a corporate environment. And I can tell you that Sheri is very loyal and dedicated when it comes to serving a company. So tell us a little bit about that. You were in the corporate world for 22 years, God bless.
Yeah, actually, I was in the insurance industry for 30 years with the
Wow.
same company for 22 years. So I'm a very loyal and faithful person. I worked for the same company for 22 years. I've been married to the same man for 26 years. He's been with the same company for 27 years. Like when we do things, we do them and we mean it.
In it to win it.
Yeah, we're in. That's it. We put down our roots and we stick it out and we're in it. However, I was with the same company for 22 years and I had an amazing career. I have nothing poor to say about that organization or that industry. It was very good to me and we had beautiful adventures and we've had a great life from that. But I was coming to a time in my life when I realized, like, when I turned 50, do I want to do this for another 15 or 20 years? Like this
Mm.
exact thing that I was doing? And the answer was no. If I was being completely honest, I did not want to do that. I wanted to do something creative and something that gave me an outlet and something completely different. I kept saying at the time, like, what if I just, threw caution to the wind and did something completely crazy, like became a nurse or an archaeologist or an astronaut or something crazy. Now I'm a realtor, so that's not really crazy. However, something completely different. So just to back it up, in 2018, I turned 50. I had a ton of change in my life around that year or so. So we also had another side business, which was extremely successful that we had wrapped up after 5 years that was gone. Both my children were out of the house in that year as well. So I had an empty nest. And my son had a massive professional sporting career that also wrapped up that same year. And then in August 2018, I also was reorganized from my corporate job, which was a blessing. Absolutely. I am so grateful for it. But I was reorganized and restructured. And so all of this change and everything that I had identified as a mother, an employee, a small business owner, a corporate executive, all the things that kept all the hours of my day so busy were gone all at once.
And I think a lot of women can actually relate with that, that we do get wrapped up in all of the roles that we play in life, that for those who have children, it's mothering first.
Yeah.
And it's kids, 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 regardless. And even as they're adults, we're still all in on our kids. But when they're at home, that really is what our focus is. Your focus is on being really career focused so that you can maintain the lifestyle that is conducive for you and your family. It
Right.
allows you to have that normal routine schedule. Competitive sporting career, I mean, that comes with, we all know that that comes with a cost,
Yeah.
financially and of time. So to be able to curate that while everything else is still at that status quo makes sense. And then when all of that starts to chip away, you hear it more often than not, right? We really look forward to that empty nest syndrome until we have it. And then
Right.
it's like, oh my goodness, what do we do? We really look forward to the impact that we have on our careers until all of a sudden that impact isn't really singing your praises every day when your feet hit the floor. And it's, what do you do with that? And to have all of that change at the same time,
All in the same year.
what? an impact on life. Like there had to be, I would wager, a little bit of challenges coming to terms with all of that at the same time.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I was sad. Like I was really sad, but I think that I deserve to be sad. That's a lot of change off.
Oh, can you say that again?
I deserve to be sad.
So, and I think for the ladies listening, that's a really important piece, that you deserved to be sad. And oftentimes we discredit the feelings that the moms are having.
Mhm.
That now, all will be good. Your life is just starting. And we really don't allow them the time to sit and process and grieve through those moments, because there is a grieving of a loss. Although you've done your job really well, you have two successful kids,
Yep.
and your job is to raise them so that they can then go out and be productive and successful. And
Yeah.
you've done that really well. But at the end of it, a job is coming to an end. Your role is changing. And I love that you've just given other women permission to stop and be sad.
Yeah. It was, as I said, all those things had wound up. And then when I left my corporate job, like that was kind of the final blow to go, I think I'm having an identity crisis.
Mm-hmm.
So all those things I identified as throughout my whole life pretty much were gone. And so,
Mm.
but you know what? It was a beautiful opportunity to reevaluate who I wanted to be for the second half of my life.
Oh, like you're touching on so many key points, Sheri, like so many key points. It allowed you the opportunity to touch on who you wanted to be in
Right.
the next half of your life. So, ladies, when we hit 40, when we hit 50, God bless, when we hit 60, you need to know that life is not over. Life as you know it may be changing and shifting. Your identity and your direction, your path may be pivoting, but your life is far from over. And Sheri is a prime example of exactly what that looks like. Because Sheri, you have reinvented. You've taken courses, you've studied, so you can teach an old dog new tricks.
You can.
Both Sheri and I have done hard exams later in life, so I
Yeah.
can tell you that it's possible. So where do we find you now? You have done a complete shift. You have found yourself, and I know that you're extremely passionate about what you do now.
Yeah,
Tell us.
thank you. So fast forward through all of that, I will say just as a note that there's nothing more intimidating than writing an exam after you haven't been in school for 30 years.
Right?
So, like I said, I did spend some time just taking a breath, just allowing myself
Mhm.
to take a moment, figure it out. We actually had some fun. We went away a couple of times and things like that. But by fall, it was time to think about, okay, what's next? Because I'm a pretty ambitious person with a whole ton of energy, so you can't keep it bottled up for too long.
Mhm.
But I had always had a passion for real estate. I love serving people. I'm really great at customer service, and I'm really good at understanding people and communicating. I know those are really my strengths. And I know that all the things that I did up until then blended really nicely into landing me into a career in real estate. And I kind of even knew years ago that I thought one day I would be a real estate agent. I just, at the time when children were younger and life was different, needed a more steady paycheck, needed to have a little bit more stability in my life. So that wasn't the time, but this is absolutely the time. So really proud of myself. In 7 months, I got fully licensed to get my real estate license and got my business up and running. I'm in my second year now, and I've had some great success working with Remax Finest Realty. It's great. It's everything I wanted it to be, and I love serving people. I love finding the right home for people. I love one of my passions is, we haven't touched about it yet though, is making sure that people who are downsizing or potentially wrapping up a family estate are really, really well taken care of. So as a result, I got my senior real estate specialist designation. And part of that comes from my personal story. My parents lived in the same home for 60 years. And when the time came for my mom to get rid of the home, she had no idea what to do. Obviously, she had lived in the same home for 60 years. And there have to be so many people in that same scenario. And it takes an extra level of patience and sensitivity. So I wanted to get that certification. And then as well, those are people I can relate to. I'm thinking about downsizing as well. And we talk about it all the time, and we're looking at the options, and we're dealing with aging parents. And that, again, that kind of goes with my sweet spot being people over 40. Not to say that I don't service everyone, because I will, because then when I'm helping first time buyers, out comes the mother in me, who absolutely has to make sure that you are doing it well and that you're guided and coached through the whole thing. But I do really have a special soft spot for those people. You know, pretty much in everything that I do, I really, really, truly believe that we need to have voices and advocates for people, particularly women our age. And that's who I want to serve. And that's who I want to make sure they're in the very best place that works for them.
And it's very true. I mean, one, Kingston is a retirement community. We have a lot of people from the outside who come here to retire. So that designation makes perfect sense, especially in our city. And my husband works in a retirement community, an independent community. And when I know when seniors are looking to make that move, it's not just them that you're looking after those adult children.
Right.
And really making sure that the senior, the mom or the dad, still has a really strong voice and that their children don't overwhelm or overrun all of their decision makings, because they still have the faculties to make those decisions for themselves, to be part and party in everything that's going on with them. And it really does take a exponential level of patience to curate all of those moving pieces. So I commend you on making that a focus. And as we're aging, it really is, it's a fact that more and more of the people that you know in your circle are going to be faced with those challenges and those circumstances. And what better way to help them and guide them by having a trusted friend in our corner who can look after that. So that is really is a sweet spot. And I certainly have a soft spot for that. Just seeing what my husband does on a regular basis, I know the care and concern that goes into that. So not just getting your real estate license, but then getting a special designation as well. So ladies, as you're sitting here listening and you're taking in Sheri's story, what I want you to see and hear and feel, one is the energy that she has behind her, the energy and the passion, the zest for life. Like I can tell you when her feet hit the floor in the morning, like the world around her is going, look out, here she comes. Like there is no holding her back.
It's also 5:30 in the morning when my feet hit the floor. So
yeah, I'm with you on that one. And it's a testament that it's never too late to start. So if somebody is sitting right now listening to you, Sheri, and they're Debbie Downer is sitting on their shoulder and is telling them, oh, that they can't, that, you know, they're too old, or what will my friends think? What will they say? What do you have to say to them?
I heard a great quote recently, so I'm going to quote it. Someone said that don't try to accomplish a goal because of the time that it's going to take to achieve it. The time is going to pass anyways. And it just stuck with me.
Right?
Right. Like I would rather, you know, have made some progress and still not be as far along as I wanted to be than no progress or never even tried.
Absolutely. Right? I agree with that on many levels. Sheri and I do know each other personally, and I have been through a couple of different paths. I've tried a few different things as I've hit later in life. And I do have some girlfriends who come and go, we don't get it. We could never do what you're doing. They're content with the status quo, the 9 to 5, punch the time clock, and they bitch and complain about their jobs all the time. I am not going to lie. They have people who are on stress leave all the time, which is just, I can't even imagine what that environment is like. And my comment to them is that I may have tried a few things, and at least what I know is what I don't want to do.
Right. And you tried.
I tried it. And I mean, some of them took really hard exams. I mean, I had my mutual fund license and my life insurance license. Those are hard exams, just like the real estate and the specialty exams that you're doing. So ladies, we are proof, and we are here to tell you it is never too late to start. March is coming. February 2022, it's coming. You can't stop time. So what are you going to do with the time that you have on your hands now? You can choose to do something And if that something turns out to be not your forever, at least you tried. At least you tried. And what an inspiration. I know you have a daughter, Sheri. So, what an inspiration to show our daughters and our girls that it is never too late to try. It is never too late to change. And regardless of the age that you're at, it's perfectly okay to be content with who you are. And it's super cool to be happy.
Right. Absolutely. I love, literally, I am so much happier than I was 5 years ago, and not in quite as comfortable of a position, let's call it.
Mm-hmm.
Because corporate life comes with vacation and benefits and stable paycheck and knowing what you're doing and hours and all those things, which all are secure and safe. And I
Mm-hmm.
took a leap of faith and did something that doesn't provide any of those. And I'm so much happier.
I agree with you 100%. And I think we would be remiss to not give credit to the support that's in the back corner. So
Oh,
you say you've been with your husband for 26 years.
yeah.
And I know for some of the women who are watching, they aren't quite so blessed to maybe have as strong as a support in their corner. So, ladies, I want to tell you that if you have a husband, a partner in your corner who you think won't be supportive, have the conversation. It may be a difficult conversation to have. And I know both Sheri and I are very blessed that we have husbands who unapologetically support us, but they benefit because we show up every day as a different person. And if you are happier in your life, life in general is happier. And
Right.
just imagine what that would do for your relationship. Because I know that, 26 years, you got another 26 in you at least. And the
Exactly.
best is yet to come.
Absolutely. Yes. I wouldn't, I can promise you I wouldn't be where I am right now without my husband and without my children. They're
Mhm.
amazing. I have the most amazing support, and I know that I'm very blessed, and I know that I'm very fortunate, and I will never take that for granted.
Yeah, and that is a blessing. Sometimes when it is an automatic, it can be taken for granted. So to acknowledge, we think it's important to acknowledge the people that we have in our corner because we do appreciate the support that they give us, and it's because of them that we can really level up and elevate. And at the end of the day, it's with that support that you find your true happiness. If 2020 has taught us anything, it's that change is inevitable.
Mm.
We can't control circumstances around us. We can't. But you can control some circumstances. And what you choose to do day in and day out, you do have control of. So if you are in a corporate job right now, we get that it's secure, we get that it's stable, and we fully understand all of the benefits that come with that. But if it is killing your soul every day that you go into work, I would encourage you to start broadening your horizons. We're not saying throw in the towel and quit tomorrow. That is not what we are saying. But if you have a passion, you have that creative passion. Sheri started when she was in corporate, Fab 40. She started giving women a voice, a safe place for voice and being creative. That's how her juices continue to flow. So there are ways to be creative to start moving forward to that next chapter. Now, Sheri's chapter, as we sort of alluded to a little bit throughout here, she is a real estate agent, a loved real estate agent here in Kingston, Ontario. So if you are local and if you are looking for some advice, you have some questions, her specialty is helping with downsizing and with seniors. So if you know your mom or dad need to be making some transitions and some changes, I know that Sheri would be an advisor, a trusted advisor in your corner. And yeah, things are a little different right now. And Zoom's not the ideal place for all of us to meet, but it can start with a coffee chat on Zoom. Socially distanced, following all of our guidelines. I know that she is open to receive your questions and she is open to help you move through whatever life challenges you might be facing. Sheri, if there is anything that you wanted to send off to the women who are listening, what would be your final words of wisdom?
Uh, just keep, I know this sounds really funny, but even in those days when it wasn't so great and I was just being sad, I literally kept telling myself, just keep swimming. just keep swimming, finding or channeling a little Finding Nemo in me, but just keep swimming, just get up, just have a shower, just put on lipstick, do one thing. And then the next thing became a second thing. And then it kind of became fun. And, you kind of get into some routine
Mm,
momentum. And sometimes you need that, right?
mhm.
The other thing that I would put out there is if you want to talk about just being who we are and today in this phase in our life and anything you're passionate about or reinventing yourself, regardless, setting aside real estate, I love to chat with other ladies. I really do want to be an advocate and a voice for shining the spotlight on us. I have a couple vehicles, as you've alluded to, Fab 40. There was an intention to start some socials. There was going to be like a throwback dance and some things like that we had planned, part of my family business structure tying into that. Those got shut down by COVID, but they will come back.
They
So
will come back.
they
They
will
will
come.
come back. So, ladies, as you're listening, just keep swimming.
Absolutely.
Just keep swimming. And if right now, today, as you listen to this, you are finding that you're just treading water and that's becoming more difficult, Sheri has offered you an olive branch. She is here to have coffee with you. She is here to represent Fab 40 and all that we bring to the table. And if you just need a sounding board and some feedback from somebody who's been there and done that, reach out to Sheri and have a coffee. Her Fab 40 group would support you in all of the ways beyond measure. You have no idea what she can do for you. And I can tell you that if you are just treading water, she will throw you a life jacket. She
Absolutely.
will help you to get swimming again. She is kind hearted, beyond belief, beyond measure. And her energy, even on Zoom, comes through loud and clear. So, ladies, I want to give this opportunity for us to thank Sheri for coming to the table and being really honest about some of the challenges and the struggles, for giving us permission to be sad on the days that we need to, and for also giving us permission to reinvent ourselves. So I hope this finds you just swimming along. Sheri, I want to thank you for taking time out of your busy day to spend with us. Time is a precious commodity, and I appreciate that you've given some of that to us. So thank you so much.
Well, thank you as well.
So as we end off, I hope your bucket is full. I hope your heart is light. And whatever you are doing today, please take a moment to pause and let your soul sing your beautiful praises. So I can tell you that you are beautiful just as you are. You are needed just as you are. And above all else, you are enough. Have a blessed day.